I'm going to be gone today for fifth period. So, no, not a TikTok at all. I'm going to upload this for fifth period because they won't have me going through these notes. So, I've shared the notes with you. I've shared the rubric with you. I'm going to go through the notes first. But if you recall from looking at the calendar over and over again, we have a project. It goes today, tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. And I know we're all Anakin Skywalker here. And it's like, you can't do this project on the last day. You doubt my powers. No, I doubt your powers. You cannot do this project in one day. Guaranteed. Every year that I have done this, I've had people who have come in on Monday and like, I got my survey ready to go to send out. And I'm like, you're 3 days behind and you're going to fail. Do not waste your time on this. Okay? You need to spend it wisely. So, the Unit 1 performance task. This is a project, it's a test grade. You can work with a partner on this if you want to. Now, I will warn you, 2 years ago, I had a student who, the whole time through this, he did nothing. He did nothing in class for 4 straight days. And at the end of the project, I gave him a 0. And he's like, hang on, so-and-so was my partner. It's like, bro, she turned in all of her stuff with just her name on it and not yours. She was never your partner. Okay? So if you are partners with somebody, you better make sure that they are pulling their weight and getting stuff done. And have a copy of things just in case you get sick on the last day. So that you have something to turn in. All right? So, there's a few different things that you can do. These are the suggestions from College Board. All right? Is there an association between the type of cereal someone eats and whether or not they drink the milk left in their cereal bowl after they have finished the cereal? I don't know about you guys, but if I have some Cocoa Puffs, I will eat the Cocoa Puffs and then I'm like, hey, chocolate milk. But if I am, if I'm eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch, love Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It's a good cereal, but I finish and I'm not like, oh boy, cinnamon milk. Okay, just not my jam.
Really, you don't like
on the second one, is there an association between the age of a high school student and their response to a survey question based on its wording? For example, would students respond to the questions, do you watch cartoons and do you still watch cartoons in the same way? Okay? So, these first two options are kind of telling you how you would do the survey option. The most important thing from the survey option, if you're like, oh, that sounds rad, I'm going to do a survey. You have to start with, is there some kind of association between these two things? All right? And it should be, well, all the ones that you've been testing for independence, all those things about independence that we've been doing, has a cat, has a dog, male or female, passed the test, didn't pass the test, those things that you've been using to test for independence, that's the kind of thing that they're seeing. Is there a relationship between this? Is there not? And if you're going to do these, you have to do a survey and you have to design the survey in a way to try to get what you want without making it obvious what you're trying to do. Okay? I don't want to send out a survey and have my survey be titled Immature People Watch Cartoons and then ask these questions about, do you watch cartoons or do you still watch cartoons? Because people right away are going to be like, whoa, 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 what's this about? Okay? And then if I want to see if people respond to questions in a different way, I have to add an extra layer to my survey where I'm like, hey, what's your favorite color out of red and blue? And if somebody picks red, it sends them to the question, do you watch cartoons? And if somebody picks blue, it sends them to the question, do you still watch cartoons? because do you still watch cartoons makes it sound like maybe if you were younger, you should be watching cartoons, but if you still watch them now, that's kind of, what are you doing? All right? Now, the next couple situations here. Everyone who buys a raffle ticket to support the marching band will randomly receive one of three pieces of marching band merchandise, a t-shirt, a hat, or a pair of shorts. How many raffle tickets would you have to buy to get all these pieces of merchandise? It would take at least 3, but given the random nature of this, you could buy 6 raffle tickets and get 6 pairs of shorts. We don't know. Okay? And then assume that you have 3,000 songs downloaded to your phone. Of these songs, 50 are by your favorite artist. If you play the songs on random shuffle, how many songs would you have to listen to in a row before you heard a song by your favorite artist? Nobody wants to build a 3,000 song playlist on Spotify, put 50 songs on there by Taylor Swift, and then hit shuffle and see how long it takes to come up with a nice Swift song. All right? So for both of these, you would be doing a simulation. You would assign some dice rolls to different answers or different things here. You would run the simulation by either rolling the dice yourself or going to rolladie.net or some other kind of random number generator and seeing what you can come up with. All of these need to be based on real world statistics, but it's something where you do the simulation yourself. Okay? So, what makes a good research question? All of these are research questions, and your first task is to write a research question. Notice how it's not just a simple one sentence, tiny little question. Do people who walk to school have cool shoes? Like, that's not my research question. It's like, I think there is an association with people who have to walk to school and the quality of their shoes, because you have to put something good between you and the ground. And I think these people are going to have better running shoes or something, not as fashionable, more hard wearing, because they have to walk all the time. Okay? I would not walk to school in a pair of slides. It's too much. All right? So you have to have a research question. It has to be something that you can answer by either having the survey or the simulation. Okay? How will you collect evidence to answer your question? This is what you're trying to accomplish today. You're going to either send out a survey and have people try to answer your survey, or you are going to create real world or computer simulations. You're going to roll dice based on the probabilities that you have, or you're going to go to a random number generator. Identify any type of bias that might be present in the research questions. If I put out on my survey that people need to call me on the phone. Hello. Yes. Miss Dixon, your ID is in the front office. You can go ahead. Okay, identify any type of bias that might be present in the research questions. Don't ask this class or people in this class if they drive to school. You are not going to send this survey out and get a ton of 16-year-olds because we're sending it to the pre-AP geometry students. Nobody's going to drive. Okay? And if you send out questions about what are your grades in classes and how many classes are you failing, it's pre-AP classes. It's probably not a lot. There's some bias inherent in the group that you are asking. Okay? If you're doing the simulation, it's a little weirder, but you need to probably Google the random number generator that you're using and find out if it has any bias that's on there. Okay? Make sure the question's not asked in a way that's going to influence the answers. Make sure that your sample, who you're sending the survey out to, represents who you are trying to get an answer from. Okay? So if you're like, I bet that everyone who drives to school drives an automatic and not a stick shift, you're not going to get answers from the student population that you are getting your survey to. Okay? If you're a part of another group, like, oh, I'm in band, I'm in sparklers, I'm in choir, I'm in softball, baseball, soccer, whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna send it out to that team too, that's fine. But if you start asking a question about, do you participate in an extracurricular activity, you've got bias because you're asking a group that's already participating in an extracurricular activity. So you got to think about what kind of question you want to ask, what kind of relationship you're trying to establish based on who you're asking the question to. Okay? This is your basic schedule. If you want to get this done on time and done right, you need to be paying attention to this, and I shared this presentation with you. Day 1, that's today, you should finish parts A and B. Day 2, tomorrow, that's part C, you should try to get that done. Day 3, part D, which is the analysis, and then day 4, part E, you finish up the report and you submit that on College Board. Now, you are going to turn this in on College Board, but I don't think the College Board website allows you to do part, submit that part, save that part, and then leave and come back to it. So I would put together like a Google Doc or a set of Google Slides. You're not going to have to present this information, but I would track the information as you are doing it and organize it in that way, especially if you're going to have a partner, because then you can share that Google Doc or that set of Google Slides with them and they can edit it as well so that either one of you could turn this in. Okay? Now that we talked about the presentation, this is the actual form, the student information from College Board. So it tells you the survey options, and it's the ones that we put up there. The simulation option, it's the ones that we put up there. The design. You need to create a survey or simulation that you are going to use to answer the question. So you need this done today. If you are doing the survey, you need to try to send the survey out to people that are maybe not in pre-AP geometry, and then you need to send me your survey. I will link it. You'll notice in Schoology, if you've been on Schoology today, there's a thing in there that says surveys. There's a couple people in first period that sent me their surveys. They're already on there. I want everybody in here to fill it out. Okay? It's one of those good things come to you if you put good things out into the world. If you want to put your survey out and you want people to respond, then you need to respond to other people's surveys. And if you're doing the simulation because you can't trust other people to get stuff done, try to help the people who are doing the surveys by getting that done. Okay? The data collection, the data analysis tells you what you're supposed to do. Now this is super important, and I have shared this with you. It's on the assignment for today. This is the rubric. If you want a good grade on this, and it's a major grade, it's a test grade, you need to do these things. Okay? This is where the grade comes from. So when you submit this on the College Board website by the end of the day next week, Tuesday, when you submit this stuff, this pops up for me, and this is how I grade it. Okay? So part A and B, is there an explanation of the research question, or did you just put the question? That's a point or not a point. The instrument, the way that you chose to answer that question, is it designed in a way that has potential to answer the question? Yes or no? Did you make a good survey that could work for this? Did you create a proper simulation that can work? And then the potential sources of bias are considered and addressed. Who were you asking the question to? Who did you send the survey out to? Did you ask the question in a way that your true purpose behind it was masked? Or did you make it super obvious? Okay? Or when you're using the random number generator, did that actually match up with what you were trying to do? Okay? Now, I had a lot of people in the last couple of years that have made surveys and made surveys and made surveys, and their survey questions are like completely unrelated and not even anything that they were trying to find a relationship between. That's not going to help you. You need to make sure that you have that research question. What's the association between these two things before you pick your questions for the survey? And if you want to make it a really good survey, include some other questions that don't have anything to do with it, just so people are just trying to answer the stuff honestly so that you can move on and nobody's just trying to be like, so how many classes are you failing? All of them. Okay? You don't know who's filling out your survey and how serious they're going to take it. Hopefully they're taking it serious. Okay? Now, on part C, the data collected is appropriate. The quantity. If you are going to do a survey, you need to get at least 100 responses to have it be anywhere close to good numbers, which is why you can't wait on the survey. You got to get it out today, and you got to start responding to other people's today so that they can get close to 100 or more than 100. All right? If you're doing the simulation, you need to figure out a way in which you can get that done, because you need to get some of those done. Probably you could start on it today, and you could spend the whole class period tomorrow getting that done. Now, as far as which one to pick between the survey or the simulation, I'm probably biased. If it were me doing this, I 100% would be doing the simulation. Like, no questions asked. I would be doing something like this one. I got a 100-song playlist, 4 songs are by Queen. What's it gonna take for a song by Queen to pop up? Okay? It would be something like that. Because number one, I've never had and I would be working on it by myself. I've never had a group project or a partner where, like, with the exception of like one time, that I felt like my partner or my group was pulling their weight. It's always been me doing all the work. And if I'm gonna do all the work, I just wanna do all the work by myself. Okay? The other thing is, I don't like to depend on other people for my grade, so I wouldn't send out the survey, because then, like, if I send out the surveys and people don't respond, what do? I'm sunk, and I've lost days doing it. All right? So I would be doing the simulation. It's totally on you. You may feel like the survey is a better option for you. Okay? But the other thing that I want you to remember about the survey is this. The survey is super easy to make today and send out and not have to worry. All right? But if you do that, you have to calculate independence on the variables that you're looking at. And were you good or not good at calculating independence when we did that on the Delta math? Okay? Then, if you're doing the simulation, that's like, we make a box plot, we make a dot plot, we make a histogram, we talk about the shape, and I don't feel like anybody really struggled at making a box plot, finding the mean, and that stuff that you could just do in Desmos. Okay? So I'm kind of biased, and I lean towards do the simulation. All right? It's entirely up to you. You're gonna have the whole remainder of the class period to work on this. You have a schedule of kind of what you should get done. If you have other questions after this, ask those questions. I'll come around. I'll try to help you out. Okay?